Uncle Ron and stuff, self-publishing a book back in January. I don't know why, not exactly anyway. I decided to take some of my writings that I've had over the years and compile them and publish a book. And I looked around the internet because I didn't know how to do that. And yeah, there were tons of services that offer book publishing. You, I didn't try submitting a book to an existing big publisher. I didn't have any confidence that the book would cut the mustard with a reputable big-time book publisher. There are a lot better writers than I am. I know that for sure. And what I had together at that particular time, after I had pulled stories together, was 134, 40 pages of pretty rough concepts. The ideas were there. The point, and I was trying to make a point on each one of the pieces that I had, some kind. Whether anybody's interested in those points or not, I guess I'm going to find out soon enough. I doubt it, but hey. So I looked around, and there are a lot of people offering services where they'll supposedly edit and publish a book for you. And I signed up for one. This was called Amazon Digital Publishing, but no connection to Amazon, the mass company that you know and buy stuff from. It's got the Amazon Digital Publishing. They were smart enough to snag that URL or the name or whatever, and no. Anyway, they had a very fancy, once I paid the money, and book publishing is money. To do it yourself, you're going to have to pay money. And I suspect by the time I get all done, I may have as much as 10,000 invested in getting a book published in all formats. I guess that's one of the first things I want to highlight to you. If you're thinking about doing a book, if you can submit it to a publisher who will review it and say, yeah, we want to publish your book, then you might get it done for free, literally, and they'll pay royalties to you for when the book is actually sold in whatever format it is. I wasn't confident in that, and I thought, well, I can use some editing skills. Somebody who would edit, that would be helpful. You know, they said they would edit it, and they knew about publishing, and what I thought I bought was they would get it all the way into every format from ebook, audio to paperback and hardcover. That's what I thought. And to start with, I had to submit a manuscript, and they would then review and edit it. And I submitted a manuscript, and a month later I still didn't have anything back. And I got started poking them, saying, well, what's going on? I mean, I haven't heard anything. Is it so bad that you don't think you can do anything with it? And just tell me that. If that's the case, then tell me it's not worth doing. Well, they didn't say that. They finally sent me a edited manuscript. Well, once I took a look at the edited manuscript, it was basically they had taken, you had to submit the document in a Word, Microsoft Word format, not PDF. It was in Microsoft Word document. That may vary from different book publisher to book publisher. In my case, it was a Microsoft Word document. Okay, they sent me a edited manuscript, and I can tell right away, all they did was run Microsoft's Word grammar and spell checker on it. That's what they did. I don't think they read it. They just literally ran the grammar and spell checker. That's what I got back. I complained and said, hey, I was looking for some real editing here. Like, this sentence is too thick and, you know, or this whole story. No, just throw that away. That's not worth it. I didn't get anything like that. I have never gotten anything like that. They don't, the services that are out there that you don't get real editing from them. You just don't. Not in that sense, or any kind of opinion that, no, there's no market for this book. Don't waste your time. They don't do that. They're in the business of doing what they said they would do. They'll take your manuscript and they'll get it into the channels. You can do that yourself. You just have to look around and understand how books are published and how Kindle works and how paperback publishers work. And you can do that yourself. You can submit manuscripts to those people and you can pay them for what, you know, and get royalties. You don't have to use the service. I thought you did. I was wrong. The service has done some work for me. I'm not saying they haven't, but from an editing point of view, they've been pretty poor. Okay? And once I got the manuscript finally going, I had a change of, I want to call him the agent. I had to change my original agent to a new agent, and it started moving real well then. It really did. It had lagged for literally a month. But then once a new agent came on, it began to move much more quickly, and they would send me an edited manuscript. I proceeded to add stories to what I originally submitted. I reshuffled the order of the stories. I began to take a shape, began to become something that I was happier with, and they would continue to take whatever I sent them and run grammar and spell check on it, which I finally started doing myself, and so there really wasn't that much in the way of editing they do. They were not reading it. I was reading it. I was finding errors where a word was the wrong word. I had misspelt it, and it was being... One of the tricks I did was I installed a text-to-audio reader on my computer, and I found listening to it to be very, very helpful. If you've written anything, you ought to try listening to it through one of the free text-to-speech readers. And it will highlight out where you've used the wrong word, because you hear it out loud, it's the wrong word. Or where you've left out a connecting, more like a the or and or something else. It clearly helps you do that. They were not reading it. They were not listening to it. They were not finding those things. I had to do that. Again, no opinion on this is not worth proceeding, this story sucks, nothing like that. They're just doing their job of putting it into shape to be published. One of the things they did do is they created a table of contents. Having never done that in Word, no big deal. I now know how to do it after I saw what they did and how you could re-index it. I've been using it ever since. They won't have to do that ever again for me on another book. Create a table of contents under Word for your book. That helps a lot, especially if you're going to review it story by story. Okay, they created a table of contents, and then they did formatted. There was a decision made on the paperback or hardcover book size. What would be applicable? And that depends primarily on the page count. And that was the center thing that they talked about all the time with me. What is the page count? And of course that depends on the font that you use and the spacing and blah, blah, blah. But it was decided that by Times New Roman and normal spacing that I had about 270 pages formatted for, I think it's a 6x9. That is the book format that it has been formatted for. And they did do the reformatting. I had submitted a document to them that was on a 8 by 11 inch piece of paper with default Microsoft margins, top, bottom, left, right. They reformatted it, put it into a 5 or 6x9 or whatever it is format. And whereas I had used a lot of chapters on things when the action or something I thought warranted, 3 years has gone by, another chapter starts, okay? A big reason for another chapter. I did do that. And one of their comments from an editorial point of view was that there were some chapters that were just so small that it was better if you took those chapters out and they used like a sequencing thing, a series of asterisks in the middle of the paper, and then they would create over here on the left kind of a chapter title for what you're beginning to read. And I accepted that. They did do that. That was part of their formatting. And that's okay with me. I think in some of the longer pieces, you can almost use chapters again, and it would help the readability of it, but I'm not going to argue the point. On really long pieces, they left the chapters in place. Some are small. They're not, maybe they're only 2 pages is a chapter. They don't like that, apparently, and readers, I guess, don't like that. It's also a waste of paper, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so here I am at the point now. This has gone on from I submitted an original manuscript in March. It is now August 1. I have submitted the manuscript 11 times now to them. They have sent me an edit. I have looked at it, changed it, sent it back up. I have not done a major rewrite of any particular story, but I have done a lot of deletion, taken out things which I found were extraneous. They did not help the context of the story. And I have some of the more tangled sentences I have untangled, and they have not objected to me doing that in a manuscript edit during this period of time. I've had a lot of leeway in doing that. I expected them to be stricter about it, saying, okay, now we're just down to making sure everything is spelling is correct and grammar and punctuation is correct. But no, they've allowed me to add a sentence, delete a sentence, move a sentence up or down in the story to make it read, flow better for me, from my perspective. I'm overall happy with the content. There is one story I have that I probably, if it was me, I would delete it. It keeps missing the nail. The hammer keeps missing the nail from the point I'm trying to make. It's there, but it's kind of in a cloud, and I would eliminate that, but I'm not going to at this point. And I'm at the point where I've now submitted the manuscript 11 times. They have created the book cover art, which I initially gave them an idea of what I thought I wanted, and they did use that in a better way and create a front and back cover. They then created what they call a blurb that goes on the back of the book, and they also created what was called a description that was going to go on the website, like on Amazon. There's the book cover, and here's a verbal written description of what the book is about. They created that, and initially I thought, well, that was great. That turned a pig into a sow's ear. It was amazing. I want to read that book. Well, about a month and a half ago, I've been working on this and editing the manuscript and improving it. And when I read the description again, I was like, that doesn't even come close to explaining what I have here now. And I rewrote it myself, as well as the blurb on the back. And I thought I did a really good job on both, to be honest with you. Being the author, who else is going to be able to summarize a description of what your book is about better than you? I like the fact that they made an effort up front. I hadn't done it. I didn't know it was even necessary that you have a description written for advertisement, if you will. What's going to be put on Amazon book, Kindle books, whatever, wherever platform, however you're going to present a book, you have to have a description of what it's about, you know, and a blurb on the back, so if somebody picks up the book, they can just look at the back cover and there's a little descriptive there, or they can open up the inside and read the table of contents, but the description of what the book is about does not go actually inside the book. That's only for the advertisement, if you will, on a electronic media of some kind. All right, so I rewrote those. What they had done was generically and rah, 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 and it was just wrong. And I wrote a much better, more concise description of what the book did include or not include. And that just is important. Okay, now I'm at the point of we're getting ready to publish. It's going. I have created, and they made me create websites on Kindle and also on a paperback book publisher, of which there are many. And they had suggested one, and that's who I did. I had to create those accounts, and I thought, well, I thought you guys were going to do that, and they responded, no, I had to do that because I am going to own the copyrights to the ebook version as well as the hard copy version. And that made sense when I thought about it. And these are free accounts that you open on Kindle and on whatever book publisher you want. And you have to give them your tax information, because the idea is eventually, if you sell enough, you'll get a royalty check, and it's going to be deposited. So all the details of that had to be resolved, how that happens. And now I'm at this point. The accounts have been set up. They're waiting for a manuscript to be uploaded, for the book cover to be uploaded, for the descriptions and the blurbs and everything related to actually having a book publisher publish the book on demand. It will be shown on Amazon. You can order it, and then the book would be published by the paperback publisher and delivered to you. Or in the case of an ebook, it will be on Kindle. You can buy it from Kindle. Or if I sign up, and allow so, the book would be available to any Kindle subscriber as part of their monthly 10 books they can read a month or something. And I would share in the royalties they get off their subscribers. There's a lot of aspects to it. I thought if I bought a service up front, I wouldn't have to learn all this stuff. That's not true. You hired a hired gun to help you with it. You're still going to have to do practice shooting yourself. It's beyond, there's more to book publishing than just writing stories and constructing an overall architecture, or in my case, I have short stories and muses, how you want them ordered or everything else. It's more to it than just the words. There's formatting, and there's descriptions, and there's book covers, and all these other attributes. And whoever you pay to help you with it is going to require a lot of input from you and a lot of thinking from you. Okay, I'm ready to publish now. I think we're going to get there this week. One of the things I did not know about was every book, you need it to be copyrighted. And you also need what's called an ISBN, which is a book number. And it is a universal, global sort of book number. And via book number, you can look up any book. And while it was true that by signing up to Kindle, and also I think the hardcover manufacturer, one that had a favorite manufacturer, would supply a free ISBN number, it wouldn't be the same as the Kindle. And other websites, Barnes & Noble, anybody else who sells books, they won't accept these free ISBN numbers. And if you want the same number, ISBN number, across all of your media presentation forms, be it book or ebook or audio book or whatever you want, you have to pay to have that done. I didn't know that. Another fee comes into place. If you want an audio book, you're costing a couple $1,000 because an actor or actress or whoever it is a professional reader is going to read your book. That depends on the word count of the book. At 270 pages, I'm right at 80,000 words. A smaller book, books can be as few as 40,000 words. That's not a big book at all. Still going to cost you, based on word count, to have an audiobook created. So, I'm talking money, as I said. I'm talking more time than you expected, even if you buy a service. Again, if you can get some publishing house to do it for you, and they will probably do a good critique and tell you, no, this is, you know, you send it to them, and the first thing you do is send it back to you and say, no, just get out of here. This is garbage. We're not even going to think about reading this for you. Okay, but if you get them to, you know, first-time authors, you're not gonna, you'd have to, no. That's why I went the self-publishing route. And am I wasting money? Probably. Am I ever going to collection of royalties to get more out of it than I put in? I doubt it. My research now tells me first-time authors, they don't sell very many books. It's just rare. And I understand that. It's like, well, why would you buy this book? You never heard of this person, and nobody else is reading, and they're not saying it's great or wonderful. It's like a movie, you know. They advertise the crap out of it. You go see it, and you go, well, that's terrible. And you word of mouth it to other people. That's terrible. I mean, if you take the time to even write a review. Anyway, there's more to it than you think. A lot more to it. And I'll continue to learn that, and a lot more money than I expected. Now, once it gets loaded up to this paperback guy and the Kindle guy, I know what's coming next. The service that I thought I was going to have to take care of it all is going to come and propose to me a promotional scheme. They are willing to help me promote my book for a fee, and there's probably going to be a couple $1,000. And what are they going to do for that? They may try to get some articles put in major journals or newspapers, a new author or magazine, or they will in fact ship information about your book to your local hometown newspapers or other organizations that you provide them resume. You worked here, you did that, you did there. If you were a school teacher, you could maybe get it under the school publication. That sort of promotional things. There are things they know how to do that you don't, but it's going to cost you money. I don't know what I'm going to do on promotion. I haven't put a lot of thought into it. I understand the importance of it. If people don't know about your book, how in the world can they ever think about buying it or listening to it? I get all that. I don't know what I expected. Being available on Amazon or on ebooks or whatever, I thought people would maybe stumble across, you know, maybe they would stumble and say, yeah, I like that, and recommend it to a friend. I don't know. Anyway, this has gone on too long. This is about self-publishing, and that's what I'm calling it. That is where you have not submitted a manuscript to a major publishing house, and they have read it and say, yeah, we would like to publish a book for you. And we'll do it, and we'll give you such and such amount of royalties on every sales we have. You're now committed to only publishing through us. You're committed to doing whatever book tours or whatever else they want you to do for promotional purposes. That's not my case. I'm self-publishing a book, and it'll probably be titled as such, self-published. It will not have a book company name like whatever, Kindle Books or Amazon Book. It won't say that. Money, time, they don't, you know, you're not going to get a whole lot. You're going to get formatting, and you're going to get some knowledge about how things are done, that unless you look it up yourself and start researching. And there are books available, by the way, a lot of them apparently, on how you self-publish. I recommend that you do get one of those and one more of those, and there are even YouTube videos about publishing and how you go about it. I'm just adding to another one to the ones that are already available on YouTube from my personal experience. Would I do it again? I know when I submitted what I thought was the final version of the manuscript, I was really done with it. I'd been struggling, and it was hard, and I wanted to get the words right. I wanted to have an impact. My best view of me is going to come across in the words, and it was a struggle. It has been a struggle from the get-go, honestly. It has been. Anyway, I submitted the last version of the manuscript, and I go, whew, at least that's done. And what did I do? The very next day, I began to look at all the other writings I had, which I have not used, and said, well, I immediately have compiled, and I have 70 pages of new material which can be worked into another book. It is not ready for publication off of my old collection sitting on a hard drive for the last 35 years. It is not ready for that. It needs a lot of work to get into shape. But I do have a start on a second book at 70 pages. Now, final parting shot, what my book that I'm getting ready to send out there is a compilation of stories I've written over my life. Some of them they're 50 years old, but they had a point. I think they've aged well. Okay, they're as applicable today as they did the day I wrote them. Now, I have 70 pages of could be a second book. Depends on what happens on the first one, which I don't have any expectations on, quite honestly. But a second book, and the more books you have, the more likely you are to develop a readership. I understand that part of it. If I could get another book out quickly, maybe it would enhance both, or the overall sales or acceptance of the book. But I don't have anything ready. But I do have 70 pages of that could be a start of a new book. But it was interesting to me that I had so much trouble getting the first one out. And why did I immediately jump on compiling a new one, a whole new thing? So there must have been something in the whole book creation process that I have liked. And that's kind of scary, because I have said from the beginning and told people this book is not just ego. It's more than that. I don't know all of the parameters that went into me banging and saying I'm going to publish a book. I don't know all of the parameters of that. Sharing is one. Sharing thoughts, ideas. That's always been major for me. Certainly ego. I can't say it's not, but that's not a major parameter. Other parameters, I don't know. Perhaps a legacy. I'm old enough to actually, that word has crept into my being somehow. Pitiful thing to say, but whatever. I'll acknowledge it. Anyway, enough on self-publishing. This is too long. I'll add it to the body of knowledge of other things having to do with self-publishing. But the main overall things is money, and way more time than you ever thought, and a lot more editing than you ever thought. And if you hear it, and if you see it, and you read it over and over and over again, it will be clear where you need to chop. In my case, I needed to drop out a lot, and maybe add a little bit here and there, but mainly just cut it back. Get rid of the waste, the stuff that did not add anything significant to the story. That's Uncle Ron and stuff. Today is the 4th of August, 2024, and perhaps 7 days from now, the 11th or the 15th of August, I will actually have my book up on Amazon for sale, either in the Kindle version or a hard copy version. And of course, I'm going to buy some and give them away for free. What else can I do? Anyway, Uncle Ron and stuff. If you're thinking about it, think about it. But be prepared. Money and a lot more time than you can imagine.